Star Trek has massively influenced my views about the future of work. You don't need to be a sci-fi fan. For me, it's all about inclusion. I'm Dr. Jonathan. I work with organizations to make them inclusive, and I'm on a mission to help 1 million people like you to make your workplace inclusive. Get your pen and paper ready, because we're talking about how Star Trek inspires our vision for an inclusive future. I'm going to say this again. You do not need to be a sci-fi fan to appreciate this. You don't need to be a Star Trek fan to appreciate this. As a regular member of our audience, you already know that I don't talk a lot about my personal life on this show. But I do want to share something from my personal life that has a strong influence on my work, my message, and my mission. It also explains that as much as I talk about research, data, books, organizations, I'm driven by something that you may consider to be a little bit naive. I'm telling you this for additional context for everything that we discuss here. Not only am I aware of this, I'm actually cool with it. I'm telling you so you can ask yourself if you're cool with it, so you can make your own mind up. So let's use Star Trek to put all of this into context. Really quickly, in case you're not familiar, Star Trek is a US science fiction media franchise. Started in the 1960s, it's been turned into movies, animation, video games. It's a proper media franchise. The original TV series, which was called Star Trek, is set in the 23rd century, and it followed the voyages of the Starship Enterprise, which is a starship, the flagship, of an organization called the United Federation of Planets. Think of them as an intergalactic UN, United Nations. The Starship Enterprise had a crew that was made up of life forms from all over the galaxy, and their mission, and this is a quote, is to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. All this takes place in the future. And what inspires me about this is so much of what we talk about here has to be achieved before this amazing future can take place. What we think of as problems, issues, and challenges for our future, they've all been dealt with already in the Star Trek universe. And here's 4 examples. Let's start with our mission. I'm on a mission to help 1 million people like you to make your workplace inclusive. What does an inclusive workplace mean? To us, it means everyone can perform, everyone can belong, everyone can reach their potential. If you're here, this is something that you want in our future too. That's what this podcast is all about. What I love about Star Trek is this feat has already been achieved in their past, and in the world of Star Trek, humans live in a world where everyone can perform, everyone can belong, everyone can reach their potential. In fact, that's what the majority of people are doing. They spend their time reaching their potential. And I love that. This brings me to the second thing, which is about diversity. I could have mentioned this as the first, but I didn't want to be too obvious. The entire premise of the show is about a team of people who are on a mission to engage life that is different from them. On Star Trek, diversity is standard stuff. They don't spend too much time talking about it. Not amongst humans anyway. Not only do they expect it, not only do they want to understand it, the premise of the TV show is that they are looking for it. The Federation is looking to meet other life forms to share, collaborate, and grow. This isn't a straightforward thing, hence decades of stories, but over 60 years, they've covered issues of race, gender, sexual orientation, class, identity, in ways that really challenge stereotypes. Now imagine a world where identity means dealing with infinite variations outside of the human experience. It helps to put all of this stuff that we talk about here into a clear and important perspective. The third thing I love is very much aligned with our values, and it's that they have a growth mindset. That's one of our values here. Ongoing development, learning, and anticipation of future challenges in order to create better results. Another value we have is to be innovative. We're talking about Star Trek. They're in the future. They've got technology, new ways of doing things. Our approach is to seek new, interesting, and fun ways of achieving better results. Now, in Star Trek, they've got a massive head start. They live in a post-scarcity economy. So what's that all about? I studied economics at school, and my economics teacher taught me that economics was the science of allocating scarce resources to infinite wants. This doesn't apply in Star Trek. Material want does not exist in the world of Star Trek. I'm going to say that again because I would love for that to be true for us. I've got tears in my eyes just saying this. Material want does not exist. What that means is everyone has food, everyone has shelter, everyone has healthcare, everyone has education. I could go on, but you get the point. And here's the funny thing. Because of all of that, no one has any money. No one needs any money. I've just mentioned I studied economics at school. I also studied it at university, and I'm a chartered accountant. And I still don't know what a post-scarcity economic society looks like. I don't know what that means for us, but I wouldn't mind giving it a try. What I do expect is that if we're going to make things work in that environment, we're going to have to let go of things that we think are really important now. Things that no longer serve us. This is something that we consistently nudge you to do on this podcast. As I always say, we want you to make your own mind up. And it also makes me ask the question, what would we all be doing if we didn't have to worry about your material wants? Imagine if your food, shelter, healthcare, retirement is all sorted. Imagine if you didn't actually have to provide for any members of your family. What would you be doing? This is what I think about when I think of inclusion. This is what I think about when I say reaching our potential. This also addresses issues of meritocracy. In the Star Trek world, personal accomplishment is all about character, morals, hard work, all the things that people claim they want in the workplace. This sounds like a meritocracy. And you are judged on your character, morals, hard work. And I love that because it means that the workplace, whatever that means, and society, whatever that means, it becomes fair. And this leads me to the fourth and final thing that I love about Star Trek that really influences my approach to inclusion, and it's that it paints a positive picture of our future. Look, we have a lot of challenges in the 21st century, not least of which is us coexisting on this planet without destroying it and without destroying each other. In the Star Trek universe, we've managed to get past that. In Star Trek, our collective attitude changes after an event called First Contact. Now, there's a whole big story behind it, but the point is the people of Earth realized that we are not alone in the universe, and when we collectively accepted that, it changed our attitudes towards each other, and then things got really good really quickly. For example, poverty on Earth is eliminated in less than 50 years. Now, I don't know about you, but I would love that to happen. You may not be, but I am a fan of science fiction, and there are plenty of stories, plenty of narratives about us being destroyed by aliens, us being destroyed by technology, us being destroyed by each other. What I love about Star Trek and its narrative of the future is that we find a way to embrace aliens, to embrace technology, to embrace each other for the benefit of everyone. And it may amuse you to know that underneath the Dr. Jonathan, evidence-based inclusion, I've got a PhD, make your own mind up, research, data. Underneath all that, there's a kid who sits here thinking about all the good things that could happen for all of us if some of the things, some of the reality of Star Trek was here now, or how cool it would be when we all arrive there in the future. I know it's a little naive, but that helps me to do this inclusion work. When it gets boring, when it gets repetitive, when I hear no too many times. This helps to remind me that we have the power to shape the future that we want. And if we get inclusion right, and I can't believe I'm saying this on the podcast, we will be able to boldly go where no one has gone before. It's hilarious to me that I just said that on this podcast. So let's wrap this up. What are the key messages here? My attitude to inclusion is massively inspired by Star Trek because 1, I'm on a mission that benefits other people and me. 2, I think about a society where everyone is free to do what best suits their preferences. And 3, I just like having an optimistic view about the future. So what do you think? Do you use fiction to inspire your work? Get in touch or leave a message. I would love to hear from you. If you've learned something from today's show, then give us a 5-star review and a comment wherever you're listening to the podcast. It helps other people like you to find the show. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.